pregnancy test was still warm in my hand when my sister called it a science experiment. My name is Summer, and I should probably start by saying that I never expected my family to throw me a parade when I finally got pregnant, but I also never expected them to treat my miracle baby like she was some kind of laboratory mistake. "You know what I mean," Gemma said, twirling her wineglass at last Sunday's dinner. "It's not exactly natural, is it? All those doctors and needles and whatever they do in those clinics." I was 34 weeks pregnant then, exhausted and grieving and trying so hard to hold it together. Micah had been gone for 8 months. 8 months since the heart attack that took him at 35, right when we were supposed to start our final round of IVF. "It's called in vitro fertilization," I said quietly, "and it's how your niece is going to be born." "Test tube baby," Gemma muttered under her breath, but loud enough for everyone to hear. Mum, Ingrid, didn't even look up from her plate. "Well, it's certainly been an expensive journey for you, hasn't it?" That's my family for you. While I was spending my savings on fertility treatments and burying my husband, they were keeping score of every dollar. The thing is, I used to think we were close. Growing up, Gemma and I shared everything. Clothes, secrets, dreams about our future families. She got pregnant with her first at 26, easy as breathing, then again at 28. 2 beautiful, healthy kids who my parents doted on like they were made of gold. Meanwhile, I was getting my 3rd miscarriage at 31. "Maybe it's just not meant to be," Mum said after that one, patting my hand like I was a child who'd scraped her knee. "Some women aren't built for motherhood." Gemma was pregnant with her 3rd by then. She didn't say anything, just rubbed her belly and gave me this look, part pity, part smugness. Like she'd won some competition I didn't even know we were having. But Micah never gave up. God, I missed that man. He held me through every negative test, every failed cycle, every doctor's appointment that ended in disappointment. When the specialist suggested IVF, he squeezed my hand and said, "Whatever it takes." We did 3 rounds. The first 2 failed. The 3rd one worked, but I lost the baby at 12 weeks. By then, we'd spent almost everything we had. "Maybe this is a sign," Dad said when I told them about the miscarriage. Edward's always been the type to look for easy answers, especially when they mean he doesn't have to deal with messy emotions. "A sign of what?" I asked. "That you should focus on other things. Your career, travel. There are other ways to have a fulfilling life." Other ways. Like my pain was just a hobby I could drop when it got inconvenient. The 4th round was supposed to be our last chance. We'd scraped together enough money for one more try, and Micah had already started talking about adoption if it didn't work. We were scheduled to start the cycle in March. Micah died in February. I found him on our kitchen floor when I came home from work. The paramedics said it was massive. He wouldn't have suffered. Small comfort when you're 33 and suddenly a widow with a freezer full of embryos and no idea how to move forward. The funeral was a blur. I remember Gemma crying harder than I was, which somehow made me feel guilty for not falling apart properly. Mum kept introducing me to people as our daughter who's been through so much, like my grief was a character trait. But the worst part was after, when everyone went home and I was sitting in our empty house, staring at the IVF calendar still stuck to the refrigerator. "You should probably cancel all that medical stuff," Mum said when she called to check on me. "It's not like you can do it alone." "Actually," I said, "I can." The silence on the other end stretched long enough that I thought she'd hung up. "Summer," she finally said, "don't you think you've been through enough?" That's when I knew. They didn't want me to have this baby. They wanted me to give up, move on, stop being the broken daughter who reminded them that sometimes life doesn't work out the way it's supposed to. But I wasn't giving up. Not on Micah's dream, not on our child. I went through with the transfer in April, alone in that clinic room, holding a picture of Micah and whispering promises to the tiny cluster of cells they were placing inside me. 2 weeks later, I got the call. Positive. Now here I am, 3 months postpartum, holding my beautiful daughter Esme, while my family acts like she's some kind of consolation prize I bought myself. The invitation came yesterday. Cream cardstock, elegant script, Gemma's name embossed in gold. "We're having a little gathering," she'd said when she called. "Family dinner. I have something exciting to share." I should have known better than to say yes. Gemma's dining room looked like something out of a magazine. Fresh flowers, matching napkins, the good china that only came out for special occasions. I should have known she was buttering everyone up for something. "There's my little science experiment," Gemma cooed as I walked in carrying Esme's car seat. The words hit me like a slap, but I forced a smile. Her name is Esme. "Of course it is." Gemma lifted the blanket to peek at my sleeping daughter. "She's so small. Are you sure she's developing normally?" "She's perfect," I said, setting the car seat down carefully. 3 months old and hitting all her milestones. "Well, that's good." Mum appeared beside us, barely glancing at Esme. Though I suppose with all those medical interventions, you never really know what you're going to get. Dad chuckled from his spot at the head of the table. "Remember when babies just happen naturally? Simpler times." Tyrell, Gemma's husband, looked uncomfortable. "Come on, guys. Summer's been through a lot." "Oh, we know," Gemma said, settling into her chair. "We've all been very patient while Summer figured out her situation." The way she said situation made my skin crawl, like my fertility struggles and Micah's death were just inconveniences for everyone else. "So what's the big announcement?" I asked, desperate to change the subject. Gemma's face lit up. "Tyrell and I are renewing our vows. 10 years of marriage deserves a celebration, don't you think?" "That's wonderful," I said, and I meant it. At least, I tried to. "We're thinking something elegant. Maybe the country club, or that new venue downtown with the crystal chandeliers." Gemma's eyes sparkled as she described her vision. "I've already picked out the dress. It's this gorgeous ivory silk that costs more than most people's cars." "Sounds expensive," I said. "Oh, it will be, but we deserve it, don't you think? After everything we've been through, supporting the family during difficult times." There it was, the dig I'd been waiting for. "What difficult times?" I asked. Mom cleared her throat. "Well, dear, your fertility treatments weren't exactly easy on any of us. All those doctor appointments we drove you to, the emotional support during your setbacks." "You drove me to exactly 2 appointments," I said, "and both times you complained about the traffic." "That's not the point," Gemma jumped in. "The point is, we were there for you, through all of it. The failed cycles, the miscarriages, Micah's death." "Don't." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "Don't talk about Micah. I'm just saying, we supported you through everything, and now that you've finally got what you wanted—" She gestured vaguely toward Esme's car seat. "Maybe it's time to support us." The room went quiet except for the soft sounds of Esme sleeping. I looked around the table at my family, really looked at them. Dad avoiding eye contact, Mum with that tight smile she wore when she was about to ask for something, Gemma leaning forward like a predator who'd cornered her prey. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" "Well," Gemma said, "the vow renewal is going to be quite an event. We're talking about 150 guests, full catering, live band, photographer, videographer." "How much?" 50,000, maybe 60, depending on the flowers." I actually laughed. "You want me to pay for your party?" "It's not a party," Mum said. "It's a celebration of family, of love, of the kind of marriage that actually works." The barb hit home, and she knew it. Micah and I had been married for 6 years when he died. Not long enough, apparently, to count as a real marriage in their eyes. I'm not paying for your vow renewal, I said. Why not? Gemma's voice turned whiny. You have the money, Micah's life insurance, his 401k, the house. That money is for Esme's future. Oh, please, you have more than enough. And it's not like you have any other expenses now. No more fertility treatments, no more medical bills. Because my husband is dead. The words hung in the air like a curse. Esme stirred in her car seat, making soft baby noises. Look, Dad said, we're not asking for charity. We're asking for family support, the way families are supposed to work. The way families are supposed to work? I stood up, my hands shaking. Where was my family support when I was going through 8 years of infertility? Where were you when I was burying my husband? When I was doing IVF alone and terrified? We were here, Mum said. We've always been here. No, you weren't. You were here to judge me, to make me feel like a failure, to remind me that I was costing everyone money and time and emotional energy. But you were never here to actually help. Gemma rolled her eyes. God, you're so dramatic. We're talking about one party, Summer, one celebration to make things fair. Fair? Yes, fair. You got your baby, your miracle, your happy ending. Now it's my turn to have something special. I stared at her, this woman who'd shared a womb with me, who'd been my best friend for the first 20 years of my life. She was looking at me like I owed her something, like my years of pain and loss were just points in some cosmic game, and now it was her turn to win. I need to go, I said, reaching for Esme's car seat. Summer, wait. Mum stood up, her voice taking on that syrupy tone she used when she wanted something. Let's talk about this reasonably. You're emotional right now, which is understandable. New mother, hormones, grief, don't. But think about what's really important here. Family, legacy, the example you want to set for that little girl. I looked down at Esme, still sleeping peacefully, despite the tension crackling around her. My beautiful, perfect daughter who'd already been called a science experiment before she was even 4 months old. You're right, I said. I do want to set an example for her. Mum smiled, thinking she'd won. I want to show her that she doesn't have to accept being treated like garbage just because we share DNA. The smile disappeared. I picked up the car seat and headed for the door, my family's voices rising behind me in a chorus of protests and demands. But I kept walking, Esme safe in my arms, toward whatever came next. The phone started ringing before I even got Esme's car seat buckled in. Summer, get back in here right now! Mum's voice was sharp through the speaker. We're not finished talking. I declined the call and started the car. It rang again immediately. This is ridiculous, Gemma's voice this time. You're being a selfish brat. I turned off my phone and drove home in blessed silence, Esme still sleeping peacefully in the back seat. At least one of us was having a good day. The calls didn't stop. By the time I got home, I had 17 missed calls and a string of text messages that got progressively nastier. You're embarrassing yourself. Think about what Micah would want. That baby needs her family. Don't be petty. I was deleting them when my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I could see Mum standing on my porch, arms crossed, looking like she was ready for war. I know you're in there, Summer. Open the door. I considered pretending I wasn't home, but Esme chose that moment to start crying. Mum's face appeared at the window beside the door. Open up! We need to talk! I unlocked the door, but kept the chain on. What do you want? To finish our conversation like adults. She peered through the gap. May I come in? Against my better judgment, I let her in. She walked straight to the living room like she owned the place, taking in the baby bottles on the coffee table, the burp cloths draped over every surface, the general chaos of new motherhood. You can't keep living like this, she said. Like what? Isolated, angry, cutting yourself off from the people who love you. I almost laughed. Love me? Is that what you call what happened back there? We're family, Summer. Family doesn't always say what you want to hear. No, but they don't usually call your child a science experiment either. Mum waved her hand dismissively. Gemma was just being dramatic. You know how she gets when she's excited. She called my daughter a test tube baby. And you're going to hold that against her forever. She's your sister. I bounced Esme gently, trying to calm her fussing. What do you really want, Mom? I want my daughters to get along. I want this family to stop tearing itself apart over money. This isn't about money. Of course it is. Everything always comes back to money with you. The fertility treatments, the medical bills, and now this selfishness about the vow renewal. Selfishness? Yes, selfishness. You have more money than you know what to do with, and your sister is asking for help with one special day. One day, Summer. I stared at her. Do you hear yourself right now? I hear a mother trying to keep her family together while one daughter acts like a spoiled child. A spoiled child? My voice rose, and Esme started crying harder. I'm spoiled because I won't pay $60,000 for Gemma's party. It's not just a party, it's a celebration of their marriage, their commitment. Their marriage that she's been complaining about for the last 5 years. The husband she threatens to divorce every time he leaves dishes in the sink. Mum's face flushed. That's not fair. What's not fair is expecting me to bankroll their fake celebration while they mock my dead husband and call my daughter a laboratory mistake. No one mocked Micah. Gemma said I finally got what I wanted, like he was just a means to an end, like his death was just an inconvenience that delayed my baby plans. You're being dramatic. Am I? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you all think I should be grateful for the scraps of basic human decency you throw my way. Mum stood up, smoothing down her skirt. Fine, if that's how you want to see it. That's how it is. Then let me be very clear about something. Her voice turned cold, the tone she used to use when I was a teenager who'd broken curfew. This family has bent over backwards for you for years. We've listened to your problems, supported you through your struggles, made allowances for your difficulties. My difficulties? Your fertility issues, your emotional problems, your inability to just accept that some things aren't meant to be. I felt like she'd slapped me. Get out. I'm not finished. Yes, you are. Get out of my house. Summer, listen to me. You have a choice to make here. You can continue this tantrum, or you can do the right thing and help your sister. But if you choose to be selfish, if you choose to put money over family, then don't expect us to keep making excuses for you. What's that supposed to mean? It means there are consequences to your actions. You can't treat your family like garbage and expect us to keep welcoming you with open arms. I looked down at Esme, who had finally stopped crying and was looking up at me with those perfect blue eyes, Micah's eyes. Are you threatening me? I'm telling you the truth. Family is a two-way street, and you've been taking without giving for a very long time. Taking what? Emotional support, time, energy, money. Yes, money. Do you think those rides to doctor appointments were free? Do you think the dinners we bought you after your miscarriages didn't cost anything? The phone calls, the tissues, the shoulders to cry on? You're keeping a tab. I'm keeping track of reality. And the reality is that you owe this family more than you've given. I stood up, holding Esme close. I want you to leave. Now. Fine? Mum walked to the door, then turned back. But think about what I said. Really think about it. Because if you can't find it in your heart to help your sister celebrate her marriage, then maybe you're not the kind of person we thought you were. And what kind of person is that? The kind who puts family first, the kind who understands that love means sacrifice, the kind who deserves to be part of this family. She left me standing there, holding my daughter, with those words echoing in my head like a threat. My phone buzzed with a text from Gemma. Mum told me what you said. Last chance, Summer. Pay for the renewal, or don't bother coming to any more family events. Your choice. I looked down at Esme, who was smiling now, completely oblivious to the fact that her family had just disowned us both. "It's okay, baby," I whispered. "We don't need them." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it. I was feeding Esme at 2 a.m. when I found Micah's letter. It had been tucked inside his copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting, a book he'd bought after our first positive pregnancy test, the one that ended in miscarriage at 8 weeks. I'd been avoiding that bookshelf for months, but Esme had been fussy all evening, and I was desperate enough to try reading to her. The envelope had my name written in Micah's careful handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. "Summer, if you're reading this, then something happened to me before we could welcome our baby together. I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry I won't be there to see you become the mother I know you'll be. I need you to know something. I've been watching your family for years, and I've seen how they treat you. The comments about the fertility treatments, the way they make you feel guilty for wanting what comes naturally to everyone else, the way they act like your pain is an inconvenience to them. I've set up a trust for our child. The details are with Cassandra. She has all the paperwork. But there's something else, something I need you to know about. Your grandfather's trust fund, the one your parents think they control, they don't. I had Cassandra look into it after that dinner where your mother said you were costing the family too much money. Turns out your grandfather was smarter than any of us realized. He put in a clause, a moral conduct clause. Anyone who shows deliberate cruelty or emotional abuse toward family members forfeits their inheritance, immediately, permanently. The trust has been watching Summer, recording, waiting. I didn't tell you because I hoped they'd come around. I hoped they'd see what I see, that you're the strongest, most loving person I know, and that our child will be lucky to have you. But if they don't, if they keep treating you like you're less than, then they've made their choice. Protect what we built, no matter who tries to break you down. All my love. Micah. P.S. Call Cassandra. She's been waiting to hear from you. I read the letter 3 times before it sank in. Then I called Cassandra. Summer? Her voice was groggy but immediately alert. Is everything okay? Is Esme? I found Micah's letter. Silence. Then, I'll be right over. Cassandra arrived 20 minutes later with a briefcase and 2 cups of coffee from the 24-hour diner. She'd been my friend since law school, the only person who'd never once suggested I should just adopt or learn to be happy without kids. How long have you known? I asked. About the trust, since right after Micah died. He made me promise not to tell you unless. She gestured around my living room, taking in the tissues scattered everywhere, the empty wine bottle on the counter. Unless it got bad. How bad is bad? Cassandra opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. The trust has been monitoring your family's behaviour for the past 2 years. Phone calls, text messages, social media posts, witness statements from family gatherings. That's legal? Completely. Your grandfather was paranoid about family members taking advantage of each other. He hired a private investigation firm to monitor compliance with the moral conduct clause. They've been documenting everything. She spread photos across my coffee table, screenshots of text messages, transcripts of phone calls, even video footage from what looked like security cameras. This is from last Sunday's dinner, Cassandra said, pointing to a transcript. Gemma calling Esme a science experiment, your mother saying fertility treatments are unnatural, your father laughing when Gemma called her a test tube baby. I stared at the evidence of my family's cruelty laid out in black and white. What happens now? That's up to you. The trust executors are waiting for your decision. You can choose to overlook their behavior or you can enforce the clause. They forfeit everything. The inheritance, the trust fund, all of it, permanently. I picked up one of the photos, a screenshot of a group text between Gemma, Mum, and Claire, one of Gemma's friends. Gemma, she's being such a bitch about the money. Mum, I don't know what's wrong with her. It's like she thinks she's better than us now. Claire, maybe the fertility drugs messed with her brain? Lol. Gemma, honestly, that baby is probably going to have problems anyway, all those chemicals and procedures. Mum, we should have talked her out of it when Micah died. Some things aren't meant to be. When was this sent? I asked. Yesterday, about an hour after you left their house. I felt sick. While I was at home crying over their ultimatum, they were laughing about my daughter's potential disabilities. There's more, Cassandra said gently. Do you want to see it? I nodded, though part of me wanted to throw the whole folder in the trash and pretend none of this was happening. She showed me months of evidence. Gemma posting on Facebook about some people who think the world owes them everything. Mum telling her book club that I was mentally unstable and probably shouldn't have been allowed to have a baby. Dad agreeing with a neighbour that maybe it's better when nature takes its course. They've been talking about me like this for months. Years, actually, but it got worse after Micah died and much worse after Esme was born. I looked over at my daughter, sleeping peacefully in her bouncer, completely unaware that her own family saw her as a mistake. What's the trust worth? About $12 million. Your grandfather's real estate investments did very well over the years. $12 million. No wonder they wanted me to pay for Gemma's party. They thought they had money coming. If I enforce the clause, what happens to the money? It goes to you and Esme. Your grandfather's will specifies that if family members are disqualified, their share goes to the most morally upstanding remaining heir. I laughed, but it came out bitter. He'd probably roll over in his grave if he knew they were calling his great-granddaughter a science experiment. Actually, Cassandra said, I think he'd be proud of you for fighting for your family, for not giving up. She started packing up the photos. You don't have to decide tonight, but Summer, they've made their choice. They've shown you exactly who they are and how they feel about you and Esme. After she left, I sat in the dark holding my daughter, thinking about choices and consequences and the price of family loyalty. My phone buzzed with another text from Gemma. Tick-tock, sister. Decision time. I looked down at Esme, at Micah's eyes in her perfect little face, and made my choice. I texted Cassandra. Set up a meeting. It's time they learned about consequences. The text I sent was simple. Family meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Cassandra's office. We need to discuss the money situation. Gemma called within minutes. Finally, I knew you'd come to your senses. Her voice was practically singing. I've already put a deposit down on the venue. The country club had a cancellation for October. Can you believe it? It's like fate. We'll discuss everything tomorrow. Oh, come on, don't be so mysterious. Just tell me, are you going to cover the whole thing, or do you want to split it with Mom and Dad? Because honestly, they don't have nearly as much as you do now. I hung up without answering. Dad called next. Summer, sweetheart, I'm so glad you're being reasonable about this. Your mother was worried you were going to do something rash. I'll see you tomorrow, Dad. Should we bring anything? Checkbooks? I mean, I know we're not contributing much, but we want to help however we can. Just bring yourselves. The last call was from Mom. I hope you've thought about what I said, about family, about what really matters. I have. Good, because at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water. We're all you have, Summer, you and that baby. I looked down at Esme, who was making soft cooing sounds in her bouncer. We'll see. That evening, I called my neighbour Mrs. Patterson to ask if she could watch Esme during the meeting. She was a sweet woman in her 70s who'd been bringing me casseroles since Micah died. "Of course, dear. Is everything all right?" "Just some family business to sort out." "Well, you know what they say about family." She chuckled. "You can't choose them, but you can choose how much you let them hurt you." If only she knew. The next morning, I got ready like I was going to war. Black suit, hair pulled back, minimal makeup, professional, untouchable. I wanted to look like someone who meant business. Cassandra had prepared everything. The conference room at her law firm was set up with a long table, chairs arranged so my family would be facing us across the polished wood surface. She'd laid out folders at each seat, thick manila envelopes that looked official and intimidating. "You sure about this?" she asked as we waited. They made their choice. I'm just making mine. They arrived together, chattering excitedly. I could hear them through the glass doors, Gemma talking about flower arrangements, Mum discussing catering options, Dad asking about parking validation. "Summer!" Gemma burst through the door first, arms outstretched like we were long-lost friends. "I'm so excited we're finally doing this. I brought pictures of the venue, and oh my God, you're going to die when you see the ballroom." She stopped short when she saw Cassandra sitting at the head of the table in her lawyer suit, briefcase open, legal pads arranged in front of her. "Why is Cassandra here?" Mum asked, settling into her chair with obvious discomfort. "She's here in a professional capacity," I said. "Professional?" Dad looked confused. "I thought this was just family talking about family business." "It is family business," Cassandra said smoothly. "Please have a seat. We have quite a bit to cover." Gemma sat down reluctantly, eyeing the folders. "What's all this paperwork? I thought we were just talking about writing a check." "We are talking about money," I said. "Just not the way you think." "What's that supposed to mean?" Mum's voice had that edge it got when she sensed trouble. Cassandra opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick document. "We're here to discuss the Douglas Family Trust, specifically the moral conduct clause established by Summer's grandfather." The room went dead silent. Dad's face went pale. Mum's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Only Gemma looked confused. "What moral conduct clause?" Gemma asked. "And what does Grandpa's old trust have to do with my vow renewal?" "Everything," Cassandra said, "because as of today, you've all been found in violation of that clause." "That's impossible," Mum said. "We don't even have access to that trust yet. It doesn't activate until—" She stopped, realizing what she'd just admitted. "Until I die," Dad finished quietly. "We don't get the money until I die." "Actually," Cassandra said, "you don't get the money at all, not anymore." Gemma laughed, but it sounded forced. "This is ridiculous. What are you talking about, violation? We haven't done anything wrong." Cassandra opened the first folder and began reading. Text message from Gemma to Ingrid, dated 3 days ago. "Honestly, that baby is probably going to have problems anyway. All those chemicals and procedures." Gemma's face went white. "Phone conversation between Ingrid and book club member Patricia, recorded 2 weeks ago. Summer is mentally unstable and probably shouldn't have been allowed to have a baby." Mum started to stand up. "You can't record private conversations." "Actually, we can. The Trust has been monitoring compliance with the moral conduct clause for 2 years. It's all perfectly legal, and you were all informed of the monitoring in the original Trust documents." What monitoring?" Dad asked weakly. "The private investigation firm your father hired to ensure family members weren't emotionally abusing each other. They've documented extensive evidence of deliberate cruelty towards Summer and her child." Cassandra spread photos across the table, screenshots of text messages, transcripts of phone calls, even video footage from family gatherings. "This is from last Sunday's dinner," she said, pointing to a transcript. multiple instances of calling a 3-month-old baby a science experiment and test tube baby. Gemma was staring at the evidence like it might bite her. "You've been spying on us." "The trust has been protecting its beneficiaries," Cassandra corrected, "which brings us to why we're here today." She pulled out another document, this one with official seals and signatures. "As of 9 a.m. this morning, Gemma, Ingrid and Edward have been permanently disqualified from receiving any inheritance from the Douglas Family Trust. All assets, approximately $12 million, now belong to Summer and her daughter Esme." The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the air conditioning humming, cars passing on the street outside, my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then Gemma exploded. "This is insane! You can't do this! We're family!" Yes," I said quietly. "We are, and this is how you treated your family." "You're lying," Gemma said, her voice shaking. "This is some kind of sick joke." Cassandra slid a certified document across the table. "The trust executors filed the paperwork this morning. It's already been processed through probate court." Dad picked up the document with trembling hands. $12 million? "Grandpa's real estate investments," I said. Apparently, he was better with money than any of us knew. "This can't be legal," Mum said, but her voice lacked conviction. "You can't just take away someone's inheritance because of family disagreements." "Family disagreements?" Cassandra pulled out another folder. "Let me read you some more evidence. Gemma, Facebook post from last month. Some people think the world owes them everything just because they can't have kids naturally." "That wasn't about Summer." "It was posted 2 hours after Summer called to tell you she was pregnant." Gemma's mouth opened and closed silently. "Edward, conversation with neighbour Jim recorded 6 weeks ago. Maybe it's better when nature takes its course. Some people aren't meant to be parents." Dad's face crumpled. "I didn't mean—" "And Ingrid," Cassandra continued relentlessly, "multiple instances of referring to Summer as emotionally unstable, selfish, and a burden on the family. Most recently, telling your book club that Summer's fertility treatments were unnatural and that the baby would probably have problems." "Stop," Mum whispered. "Should I read the text messages where you all laughed about Summer's miscarriages? Or the ones where you called Esme a science experiment?" "We were venting," Gemma exploded. "Everyone vents about family. That doesn't mean we don't love her." "Love?" I finally spoke, my voice steady despite the rage burning in my chest. "Is that what you call it?" "Yes, we love you, Summer. We've always loved you. We supported you through everything." "You supported me?" I stood up, placing my hands flat on the table. When you told me I should give up after my 3rd miscarriage? When you said Micah's death was a sign I should stop trying? When you called my daughter a test tube baby at Sunday dinner? We were trying to protect you. From what? From more disappointment, from wasting your life chasing something that might never happen. But it did happen. I have a daughter, a beautiful, healthy daughter, and instead of celebrating with me, you mocked her. You called her unnatural. You said she'd probably have problems because of how she was conceived. Tears were streaming down Gemma's face now. I didn't mean it. I was jealous, okay? You got everything you wanted, and I got everything I wanted? My voice rose. My husband is dead, Gemma. The love of my life is gone, and I'm raising our daughter alone, while you complain that I won't pay for your party. It's not just a party. Then what is it? It's... She struggled for words. It's supposed to be my special day. Your special day, right? I sat back down, suddenly exhausted. And what about my special days? What about when I finally got pregnant after 8 years of trying? What about when I gave birth to the daughter I thought I'd never have? Were those special days worth celebrating? Silence. Because I remember what you said when I called to tell you I was pregnant. Well, I hope it works out this time. That's it. No congratulations, no excitement, just doubt. Summer, Dad tried to interrupt, and when Esme was born, you know what Mum said? I hope she's normal. Not congratulations or she's beautiful. Just worry that my science experiment baby might be defective. Mum was crying now too. I was scared for you. I didn't want you to get hurt again. So you hurt me instead. We didn't mean to hurt you, Dad said quietly. We wanted what was best for you. What was best for me, or what was easiest for you? Cassandra cleared her throat. The trust's position is clear. The moral conduct clause was violated repeatedly and deliberately. The disqualification is permanent. There has to be something we can do, Gemma said desperately. An appeal process, or... There isn't. We'll contest it in court. With what money? Cassandra asked. Legal fees for a case like this would run into the hundreds of thousands, and you'd lose. We'll get a loan. Oh, against what collateral? Your house is mortgaged, your credit cards are maxed out, and your husband's business is barely breaking even. Gemma stared at her. How do you know about our finances? The trust investigators were thorough. They needed to understand the family dynamics, including financial motivations for behaviour. You investigated us? The trust investigated everyone, including Summer. And what did you find about Summer? Mum asked, grasping for anything that might shift the blame. Cassandra smiled. That she's been financially supporting extended family members for years without telling anyone, paying for her cousin's college tuition, helping her aunt with medical bills, sending money to her uncle when his business was struggling, all while going through fertility treatments and dealing with her own financial stress. I felt my cheeks burn. I'd never wanted anyone to know about that. She's been giving away money while Dad trailed off. While you were keeping score of every dollar you spent on her, Cassandra finished. Yes. The room fell silent again. Gemma was staring at the table, tears dripping onto the legal documents. Mum had her face in her hands. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years in the last hour. So what happens now? Gemma asked finally. Now you live with the consequences of your choices, I said. Summer, please. Mum looked up, her makeup streaked with tears. We're family. We made mistakes, but we're still family. Are we? Because family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me. Family doesn't mock a grieving widow. Family doesn't call a baby a science experiment. We can change, Dad said desperately. We can do better. It's too late for that. It's never too late. Gemma slammed her hand on the table. You can't just throw us away like garbage. I looked at her, really looked at her, this woman who'd shared a womb with me, who'd been my best friend for the first 20 years of my life. I'm not throwing you away, I said quietly. You threw me away first. You threw away my pain, my grief, my joy, my daughter. You threw it all away because it was inconvenient for you. That's not true, isn't it? The silence stretched between us like a chasm that could never be crossed. Cassandra began packing up her files. The meeting is over. The trust decision is final. As they filed out, broken and defeated, Gemma turned back one last time. You'll regret this, Summer. That baby is going to grow up with no family except you. She'll be alone. No, I said. She'll be loved. That's more than I can say for how I grew up. The door closed behind them with a soft click, leaving me alone with Cassandra and the weight of what I'd just done. I was halfway to my car when I heard footsteps running behind me. Summer! Summer! Wait! I turned to see Gemma rushing across the parking lot, her heels clicking frantically on the asphalt. Her mascara was smeared, her hair dishevelled, and she looked desperate. Please, just listen to me for 1 minute. There's nothing left to say. Yes, there is. She grabbed my arm. You can't do this. You can't destroy our entire family over some stupid comments." I pulled my arm free. "Stupid comments? Is that what you're calling it now? We were upset. We said things we didn't mean. Haven't you ever said something you regretted when you were angry? Not about someone's child, not about someone's dead husband. We never said anything about Micah. You said I finally got what I wanted, like he was just a sperm donor, like his death was just an inconvenience that delayed my baby plans." Gemma's face crumpled. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" I meant that you got your happy ending, your baby, the thing you wanted more than anything." My happy ending? I stared at her. "My husband is dead, Gemma. I'm raising our daughter alone. I cry myself to sleep most nights because Micah will never see her first steps or hear her first words. Where exactly is the happy ending in that?" "But you have her. You have Esme." "Yes, I have her. And instead of being happy for me, instead of celebrating the miracle that she exists at all, you called her a science experiment." "I was jealous." The words burst out of her like a confession. "Okay, I was jealous and bitter, and I said horrible things because I couldn't stand that you got something I couldn't give you." "What are you talking about?" "Support, encouragement, the kind of sister you deserved." She was crying again, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. "You went through hell for 8 years, and instead of being there for you, I made it worse. I made everything about me and my perfect fertility and my easy pregnancies." I felt something crack inside my chest, but I pushed it down. "So you knew you were hurting me." "Yes, and I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop. Every time you got pregnant, I was terrified you'd finally have what I had, and I wouldn't be special anymore." Special? The daughter who gave Mum and Dad grandchildren, the one who did everything right, the one who didn't cost the family money or cause drama or need constant emotional support. "So you made sure I kept needing it." She nodded miserably. "And now I've lost everything. The money, my family, my sister. Tyrell is talking about leaving me. He says he can't be married to someone so cruel." "Maybe you should have thought about that before you called my daughter a test tube baby." I know I screwed up. But Summer, please, you have to understand. I can't lose everything. The house, the kids' schools, everything we've built. Everything you built on the assumption that you'd inherit Grandpa's money. Yes, we made decisions based on that money. We have debts, obligations. That's not my problem. It is your problem. We're family. When one of us suffers, we all suffer." I laughed, but there was no humour in it. Where was that philosophy when I was suffering? When I was going through miscarriage after miscarriage while you complained about morning sickness? When I was burying my husband while you planned your anniversary party? That's different. How? Because... She struggled for words. Because you chose your suffering. You chose to keep trying, to keep putting yourself through those treatments. I chose to try to have a family. You chose to be cruel about it. We can fix this. We can go to therapy, work on our relationship. No. Summer, please. No. My voice echoed across the parking lot. You don't get to hurt me for years and then demand forgiveness when there are consequences. You don't get to call my daughter a science experiment and then cry about losing money you never earned. She's my niece. She's a child you've shown nothing but contempt for since the day she was born. I can change. I can be better. Maybe you can, but not with me, not with us. Gemma fell to her knees on the asphalt, actually fell to her knees like something out of a soap opera. I'm begging you. I'm literally begging you. Don't do this. Get up, Gemma. Not until you promise to fix this. Get up. You're embarrassing yourself. I don't care. I'll stay here all day if I have to. A few people walking to their cars had stopped to stare. I felt my cheeks burn with second-hand embarrassment. This is exactly what I'm talking about, I said. Everything is a performance with you. Even your apology is about making a scene and manipulating me into feeling sorry for you. That's not. It is. You're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry there are consequences. I walked toward my car, leaving her kneeling on the ground. Your daughter will hate you for this, she screamed after me. When she grows up and finds out you destroyed her family over petty grudges, she'll hate you. I stopped and turned back. My daughter will grow up knowing that actions have consequences. She'll know that being family doesn't give you the right to be cruel. And she'll know that her mother loved her enough to protect her from people who saw her as less than human. We never. You called her a science experiment, Gemma. You said she'd probably have problems because of how she was conceived. You laughed about it with Mom and Claire. That's not love. That's not family. That's cruelty. I got in my car and drove away, leaving my sister crying in the parking lot of a law office, surrounded by strangers and the wreckage of her own choices. My phone started ringing before I'd even left the parking garage. Mum, Dad, Gemma, numbers I didn't recognise. I turned it off and drove home in silence, thinking about consequences and choices and the price of protecting the people you love. When I got home, Mrs. Patterson was rocking Esme on my front porch, both of them looking peaceful in the afternoon sun. "How did it go, dear?" she asked. I looked down at my daughter, at her perfect little face and Micah's blue eyes, and felt something settle in my chest. It went exactly how it needed to go. The first card arrived on Esme's first birthday. No return address, but I recognised Gemma's handwriting immediately. Inside was a simple birthday card with a $20 bill taped to it and a note. For Esme. I think about her every day. I threw it away without opening the envelope further. The second card came at Christmas, this time from Mom. "We miss you both. The house feels empty during the holidays." That one went in the trash too. By Valentine's Day, I'd received cards from Dad, texts from extended family members I hadn't heard from in years, and even a letter from Tyrell explaining that he'd left Gemma and wanted me to know that he was sorry for not speaking up sooner. I ignored them all. "You're really not going to respond to any of them?" Cassandra asked during one of our monthly coffee dates. Esme was in her high chair, cheerfully throwing Cheerios on the floor while we talked. What would be the point? Closure, maybe? Forgiveness? I've already forgiven them. Have you? I looked at her. I'm not angry anymore, if that's what you're asking. I don't spend my days plotting revenge or wishing bad things would happen to them. But forgiveness doesn't mean I have to let them back into our lives. The trust investigators filed their final report last week, Cassandra said. Want to know what they found? Do I want to know? Oh, Gemma and Tyrell lost the house. They're renting a small apartment across town. She's working at a department store and he's driving for a rideshare company. I felt a small pang of something, not quite guilt, but not satisfaction either. And my parents? Downsized to a condo. Your dad had to come out of retirement. They're struggling, financially and socially. Word got around about what happened. How? Claire, apparently. She was at the family gathering where Gemma broke down and told everyone about the trust. Claire posted about it on social media, and it spread from there. I winced. I hadn't wanted their humiliation to be public, but I couldn't say I was surprised. Drama like this had a way of getting out in small communities. There's something else, Cassandra said. Your cousin Rachel reached out. She wants to thank you. Thank me? For the college tuition you paid for. She graduated last month with honours, got into medical school. I'd forgotten about Rachel. She was my uncle's daughter, a sweet kid who'd been struggling to afford school. I'd been sending money anonymously for 3 years. She figured it out. The trust investigators mentioned it in their report. Apparently, you've been helping a lot of people over the years. Rachel, your aunt's medical bills, your uncle's business loan. That was private. I know, but Rachel wants to meet Esme. She says she wants to be the kind of family member you deserve to have. The next week, Rachel came over for dinner. She was 23 now, confident and bright, with plans to specialize in fertility medicine. "I want to help other women like you," she said, holding Esme while I cooked. "Women who are told they should give up, that they are asking for too much. It's not an easy field. Neither was getting through school while my parents were fighting about money, and my cousins were—" She trailed off. "It's okay. You can say it. While they were being awful to you, I heard the things they said at family gatherings. I should have spoken up." "You were a kid." "I was old enough to know right from wrong." Esme reached up and grabbed Rachel's necklace, babbling happily. She was walking now, getting into everything, filling our house with laughter and chaos. "She's beautiful," Rachel said. "She looks like the pictures I've seen of Micah. She has his eyes and his stubborn streak. Good, she'll need it." That evening, after Rachel left, I sat on the floor playing with Esme and thinking about family, the one you're born into and the one you choose. My daughter would grow up knowing her cousin Rachel, who'd fought her way through medical school and wanted to help other women have the families they dreamed of. She'd know Mrs. Patterson, who brought us soup when we were sick and taught Esme to plant flowers in our garden. She'd know Cassandra, who'd protected us when we needed protecting and celebrated every milestone with genuine joy. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Gemma. I know you won't respond, but I need you to know that I'm getting help, real help, therapy. I'm trying to understand why I was so cruel to you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that I'm trying to become someone worthy of being Esme's aunt someday, even if that day never comes." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it without responding. But I didn't block the number. Esme pulled herself up using the coffee table and took 3 wobbly steps toward me, arms outstretched, face bright with triumph. "Mama," she said clearly, her first real word. I caught her as she tumbled into my arms, both of us laughing. "That's right, baby girl. Mama's here." Outside, it was starting to rain, but inside our house, our home, everything was warm and bright and exactly as it should be. We had each other. We had people who truly loved us, and we had a future built on truth instead of obligation. Some families are born from blood, others are born from choice. I chose mine, and I chose well.